65 reads, "Well-informed people know it is impossible to transmit the voice over wires, and that were it possible to do so, the thing would be of no practical value."
In 1925, H.G. Wells wrote, "I had anticipated radio's complete disappearance, confident that the unfortunate people who must now subdue themselves to listening in will soon find a better pastime for their leisure."
Sir William Thomson, later Lord Kelvin, a Scottish mathematician, physicist, is quoted as saying in 1897, "Radio has no future."
Italian inventor Marconi first developed the idea of radio or wireless telegraph in the 1890s. He continued to work on his new invention and in 1897 received the patent.
Other inventors had been working on similar devices, but Marconi made the first success with the device. By 1900, there were 4 competing wireless systems.
In the years just before World War I, scientists and inventors at American Telephone and Telegraph, General Electric, and Westinghouse were mapping out ways to broadcast more sophisticated messages than just the dots and dashes of Morse code.
By 1914, inventors worked with General Electric to transmit voices and music over thousands of miles. Radio was developed for its military application in the pre-World War I years, and the U.S. Navy held the patents.
In 1919, Marconi's resources were sold to General Electric, and with that, Radio Corporation of America, RCA, which spawned NBC Radio, was born. The radio boom began as people found it indispensable for receiving news and entertainment programs.
In the boom of the 1920s, people rushed to buy radios, and business and social structures adapted to the new medium. Universities began to offer radio-based courses. Churches began broadcasting their services. Newspapers created tie-ins with radio broadcasts.
Following the stock market crash of 1929, even the tough economic times of the 1930s couldn't stop the well-developed NBC network and the golden age of radio. By 1939, nearly 80% of the United States population owned a radio.
Entertainment soon ruled the radio waves more than governmental or educational content. As commercial sponsors wanted the airtime, they paid to have large audiences. Listeners enjoyed listening to their favorite music, variety programs that included comic routines and live bands, and serial comedies and dramas. Broadcasts of major sports events became popular as the radio matured and remote broadcasts became possible.
Radio was a key lifeline of information in the years of World War II. Listeners around the world sat transfixed before their radio sets as vivid reports of battles, victories, and defeats were broadcast by reporters.
Radio can inform, educate, amuse, entertain, gladden, sadden, mesmerize, infuriate, and soothe.
Most importantly, radio can connect. It connects us to news, people, music, literature, art, business, medicine, politics, religion, social issues, and so much more.
So today, we celebrate all that radio was, is, and will become. Many thought it wouldn't last. Now, many can't last without it.
So join as S.S.R.O rides the waves of radio. All aboard!
If you're buying, then I'm selling.
Radio stations have to pay the bills, keep the lights on, hire and retain technicians, disc jockeys, hosts, and building managers.
Radio stations also have to cover the bigger costs of copyright and broadcast fees, facilities rentals, and mortgages, and many other things just to produce the programs that listeners want to hear.
Early on, the major corporations discovered how lucrative and precious the radio waves could be to help them advertise their products, especially those products that were attached to a beloved radio program.
Radio programs often had names like the Lux Family Hour, General Electric Theater, the Chevrolet Hour, Standard Oil Classics, the Procter & Gamble Variety Show, and the Colgate Hour.
Sponsors also allowed print advertising to feature the name of a popular actor, actress, singer, or musical group that was a featured artist on their specific radio program.
Both Dodge and Chevrolet even gave away free vehicles as an incentive for listeners to tune in next week for another chance to win a brand new car.
Big name entertainers capitalized on the sponsorships by hosting their own radio programs, especially during the holidays.
Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Danny Kaye, Martha Raye, and many others promoted these same sponsors and their products while on official government business as they performed USO tours for military audiences all over the world.
The old adage was simple. If the radio audience was buying, we'll keep on selling.
Listen and watch as we share some favorite advertising jingles from radio shows of years gone by. You might even recognize a few.
Does soap.
Everybody's doesn't. It's the thing to do.
This kind of soap does everything for you, in the wash and the dishpan too.
Yes, all over the country you find Does doing double duty with extra qualities that make it perfect for delicate clothes and delicate hands. There's never been a soap quite like Does before.
D-U-Z, D-U-Z, D-U-Z does everything. If your girlfriend won't say yes, just send out an SOS. Soon she'll wear her wedding ring. D-U-Z does everything. D-U-Z does everything. Peach nut gum.
Hey, Magellan, we can't turn back until I get an order from you.
I'm not talking while the flavor lasts.
What are you chewing?
Beach nut gum!
This could be a long voyage.
Brisk fluoride toothpaste.
When you are late and in a rush to clean your teeth, do you really brush or do you just brush in a rush? This helps protect you from decay, starts instant action right away. Even if you brush and rush, Brisk fluoride toothpaste.
Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Waiter! Waiter! Did you ever see such poor service? I'm gonna call the manager.
Oh, take it easy, Jan. What's mostly wrong is you're a grouch.
I'm sorry, Pat, but my digestion's so upset.
What you may need for your poor digestion is something that works after nature's own order. Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Good advice. Yes, when your digestion is upset and you feel headachy and irritable, take Carter's Little Liver Pills. Get them at any drugstore for only 25 cents. Grove's Emulsified Nose Drops.
You boys and girls won't object to Grove's emulsified nose drops. There's nothing unpleasant about them. They don't run out of your nose and make you messy. They don't run down the back of your throat and make you sickish. What's more, they don't burn or sting the inside of your nose. They quickly check a head cold, but do it in a nice way. Grove's emulsified nose drops will surprise you with the way they act. These nose drops are white and creamy. They don't look, taste, or smell like medicine. Get Grove's emulsified nose drops at any drugstore or pharmacy today.
Delric's Easy Color Pack.
Attention, homemakers! Now you don't need a mixing bowl to color your margarine.
The sensational Delric's Easy Color Pack margarine ends mixing bowl rinses.
Delric's margarine and color berry are both inside a sealed plastic bag. You simply pinch the berry, then gently knead the bag.
And Delric's quickly blends to a luscious golden color inside the bag.
And listen, the delicious golden color also means delicious and rich flavor.
So join the club of happy homemakers already using Delric's Easy Color Pack today.
Ajax.
Colgate's new Ajax cleans all bathroom surfaces up to 50% faster.
Use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. It's clean just like a whiz. You'll start laying the elbow tax when you start cleaning with Ajax. So use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Flush the dirt right down the drain.
Ajax leaves no greasy cleanser scum in tubs or sinks.
So use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Push the dirt right down the drain.
Ajax, the new scouring cleanser, foams as it cleans and it smells good too.
So use Ajax. Once upon a time there was an engineer.
Choo-choo Charlie was his name we hear.
An engine and he sure had fun. He used good and plenty candy to make his train run.
Charlie says,
Go my good and plenty,
Charlie says,
really rings a bell.
Charlie says,
Go my good and plenty, don't know any other candy that I love so well. Radio Gems.
Radio programs over the years have had much to do with how we see the world. Our neighbors, ourselves, our hobbies, and our different religions.
Housewife's Choice was BBC radio record request program, broadcast every weekday morning between 1946 and 1967 on the BBC Light program.
It played a wide range of mostly popular music intended to appeal to housewives at home during the day. It achieved massive audiences and is very closely identified with that era in the public mind.
In the 1930s, 15-minute daytime radio dramas began airing, primarily sponsored by companies that sold laundry and cleaning solutions. Thus, the term soap opera was born.
These serialized melodramas were aimed, once again, at housewives, allowing them to perform their domestic chores while getting their daily dose of drama, romance, and intrigue.
To quote James Thurber, a soap opera is kind of like a sandwich. The recipe is simple enough, but it takes years to compound.
Between thick slices of advertising, spread 12 minutes of dialogue and predicament, villainy, and female suffering in equal measure.
Throw in a dash of nobility, sprinkle with tears, season with cheesy organ music, cover with a rich announcer sauce, and serve 5 times a week.
Even in radio, the phrase situation comedy first got its name with such hits as My Favorite Husband, Amos and Andy, I Married Joan, Our Miss Brooks, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, Blondie, and Abbott and Costello.
Entertainment for children also reached its peak with The Lone Ranger, Batman, Flash Gordon, Superman, Hopalong Cassidy, and Roy Rogers.
Dragnet, The Adventures of Sam Spade, The Thin Man, A Man Called X, and The Whistler also provided murder, mayhem, mystery, a whodunit twist for anyone sitting in front of the fire with our ears to the speaker.
Music and stand-up comedy also ruled the radio waves, with programs featuring favorite stars of the day, including Jack Benny, Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, George Burns, and Lucille Ball.
Musical shows were first labeled Bandstand Barnstorms. They included entire performances by bands and orchestras such as Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, Bob Crosby, and Artie Shaw.
Country music also made an indelible impression, starting with the very first broadcast of the WSM Barnstand on November 28th of 1925. Later renamed the Grand Ole Opry, which featured 60 minutes of famous and amateur bluegrass, country, backwoods musicians, all sharing their unique brands of music, artistry, and humor.
From its humble beginnings, it features acts as diverse as the Carter Family, Bill Monroe, the Binkley Brothers Dixie Clodhoppers, and Minnie Pearl.
Howdy.
Country reigned, but soon another style of music would completely take over the radio.
Rock and roll is here to stay.
Although the term rock and roll is often accredited to Alan Reed, an American disc jockey with a huge following and influence, the phrase had been used long before in literature, in music, and in varied interpretations and definitions.
For the almighty radio waves, rock and roll meant listeners, which meant sponsorships, which meant money.
In the days before television sets were the norm in every household, radio stations across the country were the lifeblood for and the lifeline to the American public, especially teenagers.
When Dad wasn't listening to the market or farm reports, and Mom wasn't listening to instructional programs about sewing, baking, or childcare, kids would clamor to hear the latest hits.
Rural areas often struggled to receive a radio signal strong enough that would allow them to hear all that was happening in the music world. But those who could tune in to Wolfman Jack, Alan Freed, and a host of other notable disc jockeys were treated to sounds that had them singing, dancing, and clapping in their bedrooms, homes, barns, and cars.
The power of radio to sell a song based upon its musical merits alone were unmatched. Teeny boppers racing to their local record stores were often shocked to see what their favorite singers or bands really looked like.
Elvis Presley was fine with parents until they saw his sultry looks and flashy clothes. Little Richard and other African Americans were fine until parents discovered their ethnicity.
Ethnic and cultural differences weren't only found in popular music that was aired across the country and the world. Radio also provided a look into average households that showcased a different side of family life, political views, and religious backgrounds. All-inclusive radio.
The term nuclear family first appeared in the early 20th century. The term nuclear doesn't refer to warfare or weapons, but It is derived from the term nucleus, or in Latin, the nux, meaning the core.
The stereotypical portrayal of a standard home immediately became mother, father, sister, brother, dog, car, church, and school, with the occasional bake sale or prom thrown in for good measure.
Radio, however, was the perfect vehicle to feature family sitcoms that took a deeper look into the lives of people from all backgrounds.
The Goldbergs, introduced in 1929, became a well-loved soap opera that shed new light on Jewish and Yiddish life in America.
Mama Bloom's Brew, a radio sitcom program that helped to positively influence the image of the Jewish population in America, combined a road trip across America in the 1930s.
AB's Irish Rose, a radio comedy staple, shone the spotlight on a marriage between a Jewish man and an Irish Catholic lass, and exposed the struggles of their extended families trying to accept something different.
In the 1920s, networks finally began to sponsor a few hours of weekly programming for black audiences, including live, musical, and theatrical performances.
A major leap forward came in 1929 when WSBC Radio in Chicago began hosting the very first weekly variety show featuring African-American entertainers and emceed by Jack L. Cooper, America's first black radio announcer.
Here Comes Tomorrow, the first radio soap opera featuring an all-black cast, premiered in Chicago in 1945 and ran for 25 years, ushering in a new age of realistic and positive representation.
The Eternal Light, a broadcast that was sponsored by the Jewish Theological Seminary, featured stories from the Torah, the Bible, and other important historical texts.
Radio also allowed people to participate in observances of Yom Kippur, Hanukkah, Passover, Purim, Easter, Pentecost, Christmas, and Kwanzaa.
Whether in their parlors, living rooms, barns, workshops, offices, or cars, people could now worship with others simultaneously across the world.
The competition heats up.
Old-time radio quiz and game shows were based on a simple premise. Audiences enjoy hearing people like themselves put to a challenge.
The form would move from differing degrees of gimmickry, but more important than the prizes or the spectacle is the challenge.
All radio quiz shows are thought to be an outgrowth of Vox Pop, originally called Man on the Street Interviews. The host of Vox Pop would pose a question to passerbys and reward them with a crisp $1 bill for their trouble. As the show grew in popularity, the format began to change.
During World War II, the program would take place in an auditorium setting, usually at a military installation or defense plant. By this time, the sponsors were providing more glamorous prizes.
Professor Quiz, 1936 to 48, and Uncle Jim's Question Bee, 1936 to 41, both sponsored by George Washington Coffee, are considered to be the original radio quiz shows that grew out of the Vox Pop craze.
Mind Your Manners, Quiz Kids, College Quiz Bowl, You Bet Your Life, Break the Bank, Double or Nothing, and Queen for a Day tested the listener's knowledge, wit, quickness, while also easily attempting them with product placement ads and special offers from participating sponsors.
Lines such as, "Kids, don't miss out on this secret Robin Hood flower decoder ring," or "Ladies, win a year's supply of diapers," had listeners of all ages scrambling to enter for a future on-air drawing.
Musical game shows became an instant favorite with listeners, offering them a chance to call in with their answers. Tuneful competitions could be heard during broadcasts of Stop the Music, Beat the Band, and Kay Kaiser's College of Musical Knowledge.
Today, S.S.R.O pays tribute to bygone radio game shows with our own salute to Stop the Music, originally broadcast in 1948 and hosted by none other than Bert Parks, Mr. Miss America.
The S.S.R.O Orchestra will play a short snippet of a song, and after being called on by our game show host, the first audience member who can correctly identify the song will earn a prize.
Introducing today's mistress of ceremonies. Please give a hearty Stop the Music welcome to Bertha Parks.
Welcome to our wonderful S.S.R.O audience and those of you listening at home. Now, what's going to happen is our S.S.R. Orchestra is going to play a little bit of a tune. Now, when I yell, "Stop the music," the first person who gets their hand up in the air who knows the answer, and you're called upon. If you're right, you're going to win a wonderful prize. So, let's get started. Are you ready? Are you ready? Maestro, take it away. Stop the music. How about this lady right here in the front?
Roll out the barrel.
You're right.
The foaming cleanser.
Oh, you're going to pay the elbow tax.
Here's your wonderful prize.
I get to keep it.
Yes. Let's take it away again, Maestro. Stop the music. I see a hand back there in blue. You're right, Pat. What has she done?
Beach nut, come.
Oh, come on up if you can. Otherwise, we'll come out to meet you.
And that'll give us time to get, that'll give us time to get the poster.
Oh, that's better. Brisk fluoride toothpaste.
I think we're still
I'll
looking
keep
for
you all
beach nut.
shining.
Oh, it's brisk fluoride toothpaste.
Brisk. Maestro, one more time.
Oh, God, really? Okay, here we go.
Stop the music. We have someone I saw back there in kind of red, wine red. There you are. There you are. What's the answer? You're right. Come on up. Tell her what she's doing.
A generous supply of good and plenty come.
Oh, we definitely want some of these.
And that concludes our audience participation portion of Stop the Music. We have exhausted our prize budget on the expensive gifts given out today. So tune in next time for more chances to win.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Fibber McGee and Molly was a longtime, highly popular husband and wife team radio comedy program running from 1935 to 1959. This radio sitcom was a staple of the NBC Red Network from 1936 onward, after originating on the NBC Blue in 1935.
The title characters were created and portrayed by Jim and Marion Jordan, a husband and wife radio team that had been working in radio since the 1920s.
Some of the most memorable and recurring characters that listeners heard week after week included Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, Teeny, also known as the little girl or Sis, Mayor Latrivia, Foggy Williams, Abigail Uppington, Wallace Wimple, Milt Spilk, Fifi Tremaine, and Beulah.
And now, S.S.R.O. presents an approximately exact recreation of an original radio broadcast of Fibber McGee and Molly, first aired on December 18th in 1945, complete with sound effects and audience sing-along to close out the show.
In this episode, Fibber is having a little trouble with his Christmas tree.
NBC and S.C. Johnson & Son, Inc. present Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
The Johnson Wax program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson Wax products for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie, with music by the S.S.R.O. Orchestra. What two things are you most anxious to have in your home? Aren't they beauty and cleanliness? Think for a moment how easily and inexpensively you can have both beauty and cleanliness with just an occasional application of genuine Johnson's wax to your floors, furniture, and floor. A rich, mellow, polished wax surface is a thing of beauty in itself. Dust and dirt do not adhere readily to a wax polished surface, so cleaning is not only easier, but a waxed home is actually cleaner and more sanitary. So why not practice protective housekeeping in your home with genuine Johnson's Wax? Dealers everywhere carry it. There are certain people who simply won't admit that nature does anything right. They are the kind who gild cattails, paint Whose Little Tootsie Are You on the shells of baby turtles, and clip poodle dogs to look like anemic lions. Here's one of those people now as we meet Fibber McGee and Molly.
Hey, Winifred, how much you charge me to paint this Christmas tree white?
Why do you want it white, McGee?
What do you mean, why do I want it white? You got 100 trees in this lot you've painted white.
Yeah, and I think they're horrible. But some people like them that way.
Never mind the artistic comments. How much?
$10.
$10? To spray a little white paint on this half-pint tree? What do you think you are, Rembrandt? Look, maybe you don't understand. I want this tree painted white, not gold-plated.
$10.
You're a pirate. And I'll bet you've made $200 already this year.
You're a cheapskate. I've already made 340.
You're a robber. You want to sell a half interest in this joint?
Fibber, you're a stoop. I wouldn't sell my own mother half interest.
You're a low-down. The dirty swindler. $10 to spray a little tree like that white. The rat. Cheating people right and left, making $400 a day. Chiseler. I don't know whether to report her to the Office of Price Administration or make her a better offer for the half interest. Low down, I don't know why.
What's the matter, McGee, this time?
That Winifred Corrigan that runs the Christmas tree lot at 14th and Oak, the dirty pine broker, wanted to charge me $10 to paint our Christmas tree white.
Well, it does seem a little high, dearie, but think of the work there is to putting all those needles back after you paint it.
They don't take the needles off, they just spray the tree. Wish, swish, swish. That's all there is to it.
Well, if wishing would make it so, why don't you do it yourself?
If it's a $10 job, I can't afford to pay myself that much. Besides, I haven't got a paint spray, so... Hey, haven't we got a paint spray attachment on the vacuum cleaner? Oh my gosh, I can have that tree painted white before you can say, doesn't that look awful?
Oh, now, McGee, please. I realize we need the house painted, but not on the inside. Let's leave the tree green.
Oh, you'll love a white one, Snooky. It's the modern thing. Nobody uses green trees anymore. They're outmoded.
They don't say. Well, tell me, Salvador Dali, what color snow are people using this year? Chartreuse?
No kidding, Molly. White Christmas trees are all the rage.
They must be. They throw me into one. Now look, sweetheart, just put the tree up and trim it. I love a green Christmas tree. Don't you, Alice?
Don't I what, Mrs. McGee?
Look, Molly, I'll put it to Alice, fair and square, and let her give an opinion. Here's the proposition, kid. If you were going to have a Christmas tree, which would you rather have? A dusty, drab, dirty old green one, or a bright, snappy, glistening white one?
Which, Alice?
Mistletoe.
Mistletoe?
Oh, jeepers. Don't you like to hang a little bouquet of mistletoe, Mr. McGee?
Oh, he's too shy, Alice.
I am not shy. But what good is mistletoe? Catch somebody under it and it's either somebody you can kiss anyway, like your wife, or you get a slap in the chops before you can point up to it. Mistletoe. Blah. That's just poison ivy with berries.
We'll put some up, Alice, and you'll see who manages to spend most of his time loitering around underneath it. But honestly now, dear, do you like a white Christmas tree?
Oh, I like them all, Mrs. McGee. I don't care if they're purple. Gertrude always has a white one, though, and she likes them.
Who's Gertrude? We know her?
She's the boy who always rides past here in the cream-colored Cadillac and honks his horned sister.
I see. Well, himself here used to go with a man who owned the Stutz Bearcat's niece.
Yeah, but I gave her up for an old guy with a broken-down Maxwell's daughter. But honestly now, Alice, don't you really prefer a white Christmas tree?
I got awfully tired of them, Mr. McGee. When I was a little girl, my father gave us kids some little tiny paintbrushes and told us to paint a Christmas tree white.
Heavenly days! It must have taken you children a long time to paint a tree with little bitty brushes. How long did it take you?
Oh, we never did get it finished, but it kept us off the streets until we were 18 years old. I gotta go wrap some presents. I'll see you later.
Great kid. Now all that lovely golden hair can grow out of that solid bone.
Oh, but she's awfully sweet, though, McGee. There isn't a neat thought in Alice's head.
No, nor any other kind. Well, this ain't getting my tree sprayed.
Where did you leave the tree, dearie?
Out in front. I can attach the vacuum cleaner cord from the porch light. Now, let me see. I bet that vacuum cleaner is in this closet.
Don't open that door, McGee! Every single time. Come in.
Hello, Molly. Love what you've done to the place.
Linda.
And how are you today, Pantry
Mr.
Punch?
Campbell.
Fine, Jumbo. You out spreading a little cheer, telling your patients you're going to retire?
Oh, he's not going to retire for years yet, are you, Doctor?
My dear, I will retire on that far distant day when I can write a personal check for $400 and not have the hired help at First National Bank go into hysterical laughter.
Ah, go on, you old miser. You got that much buried under a loose brick in the fireplace right now. Trouble with you is, you have more affection for $1 than my wife has for a pound of butter. And that's the love match of the year, if that's so.
You have no right to say that, though, McGee. Dr. Gamble does more private charity than anybody in town.
Certainly, I'm a very noble character. When I walk down the street, flowers spring into bloom. Birds burst into song, and taxicabs honk twice before they try to hit me. Well, I've got to run along now. This is my busy season, you know.
I suppose the children keep you pretty busy around Christmas time, Doctor.
No, it's the so-called grown-ups, my dear. This is the silly season when the 200-pound men start climbing 49-cent stepladders to wire dime-star angels to the top of a $3 Christmas tree and wind up in a $500 plaster cast. Penny wise and compound fracture foolish.
Don't you want to stick around and watch me trim our Christmas tree, Doc? I'm painting it white.
You don't have to do that, Skipwit. When I put my gift card to you under the tree, it'll turn white. Bye.
Listen now as our orchestra plays March of the Wooden Soldier. Parade.
This doggone thing clogs up like a sentimental woman in a sad movie.
What seems to be the matter, Gary?
This paint spray goes along all right for a minute, then it chokes up. And when it comes loose again, it throws a blob of paint that would knock Babe Ruth out of the dugout.
Pound it on the porch steps. Maybe that'll loosen it up.
Okay, I will.
Now try it.
Okay.
Heavenly praise, McGee. You almost got me with that.
Sorry, kiddo. I didn't know it was loaded. Well, here we go. There, rat it done it again. Clogged up.
Well, hurry up and get the job finished, McGee. It's colder than a lineman's lunch out here.
You go in the house if you want. I can handle this all right.
No, I gotta stay out here and tell people who you are. Get a little more of that white paint on you and they'll think you're a badly constructed snowman.
That does it? I'll have this tree sprayed before you can...
That's your end, dearie. Oh, better shut it off. Here comes Mrs. Carstairs.
Huh?
Well, hello there, Mrs. Carstairs. Won't you come in the house and have a slip of tea?
No, thank you, my dear. I'm just out walking my Pekingese. We must be going along.
What Pekingese, Carsty? I don't see him.
Oh, it's too cold for him, Mr. McGee. But as long as one of us gets out, he's satisfied.
It's really a sweet little dog, Millicent, from what I've seen of him.
Personally, I wouldn't have one of them four-legged dust mops as a gift. Give me a man-sized dog. I ever tell you about the hunting dog I had once, Carsty, by the name of Durante?
Durante?
Yeah, what a nose that dog had. Never forget the one time we were walking through the woods, me and my dog, pipe over my shoulder, gun in my mouth.
What was that again?
Gun over my shoulder, pipe in my mouth. When all of a sudden Durante freezes. He's on point, nose quivering, tail out like a ramrod, 1 foot in the air. I raises my gun, walks slowly forward, and there, not 10 feet away, was a guy sitting on a stump.
That was quite a dog, Mr. McGee. Trained to flush out game wardens, was he?
Oh, no, sirree. I bawled the dog out, and then I was never so ashamed of my life. It was the smartest thing he'd ever done.
Why?
Well, I got talking to the guy, and you know what? His name was Partridge. Henry W. Partridge. Wasn't that wonderful, Kirsty?
Not really, Mr. McGee. Not in light of what one of my dogs, an extremely intelligent police dog, did one day.
What was that, Millicent? After all, it's so cold out tonight, the bologna won't spoil.
Well, this dog of ours was extremely intelligent. One day, I had him in the post office, and I noticed he was staring at the police posters on the wall. Suddenly, he dashed out the door and was gone.
Probably went out to steal an apple off a fruit stand, Kirsty.
No. When I got home, he was gripping our butler Jarvis by the vest pocket and was barking into the telephone, which he had knocked off the table. When the police arrived, it turned out that Jarvis was wanted by the authorities in 3 states.
Why was your dog holding him by the vest pocket, Millicent?
That was where our butler kept his fountain pen. You see, he was wanted for forgery. So nice to have seen you. Good night.
She thinks she's kidding. I don't believe a word of that stuff. I'll bet she just made that up.
Oh, never mind her, dearie. Get busy with that paint before it freezes solid.
Oh, gee, it might hit that. Well, back to work. There she blows.
Stopped up again, McGee?
Yeah, the doggone thing. And I only got about 1/3 of this tree painted too. Maybe if, hey, how could Carstairs' dog be gripping the butler by the vest and barking into the phone at the same time?
She didn't say he was gripping the butler with his teeth, dearie. After all, a dog as smart as that could hold him down with one hind paw, dial the police station with the other, and use his front feet to take fingerprints.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, why should I worry?
Get paint, more paint on yourself than you are on the tree, McGee.
Well, the wind keeps changing. I ought to make these paint sprays with a weather vane on them. By George, if I was ever doing this, I would design it a different way.
Oh, dear. In the time you've taken to get this tree a dirty gray, pet, I could have whitewashed the Kaibab National Forest with a flip gun.
Well, doggone it. I just wanted to
Hello,
get this...
folks. What's going on here?
Oh, hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, Junior. Pull up a front step and give yourself a 3-point landing.
And if you want your Christmas tree painted white, Mr. Wilcox, trot on home and get it.
Yeah, I won't be out here very long, Junie. As soon as I adjust the nozzle on this paint spray...
You mean to tell me you're gonna stand there like a front man for a painter's colleague and paint that poor little tree white? Ruining that refugee from the forest primeval, despoiling a magnificent evergreen...
Ah, skip the dramatics, Junior. We know you memorized the Scarlet Letter in high school.
And you played the heavy in the Chautauqua Company of Rebecca and Sunnybrook Farm, too. Didn't you, Mr.
The
Wilcox?
juvenile lead, if you please. I also had 3 seasons of Shakespeare.
A likely story. When you play Shakespeare, son, that's when Othello needs a friend.
Everyone in Omaha said I was another Barrymore when I came out in my tights and said, "Oh, but rogue and peasant slave am I."
You can say that again.
Hush, McGee. I love Shakespeare. Go on, Mr. Wilcox.
Is it not monstrous that this player here, seeing a lady forced to menial task, and such drudgery, would then dispense a thing called Johnson's glow coat? Forsooth, a goodly fluid which spread upon the scullery linoleum would then eliminate the scrub. No rub, no buff, just pour it on, and in 1/3 the time it takes for thine hourglass to turn, it turns dry. Ah yes, it dries. So mirror-like it gleams, the porridge spilled, wiped off. The leaves, yet it leaves not a single spot, the labor saved, the hours gained, the beauty seen. 'Tis glow coat, beloved by chatelaine and serving wench alike. And your nearest dealer will...
Just a minute, Mr. Wilcox. Is that in Hamlet?
Oh, my dear girl, it's in every hamlet, every village, every town, every city, and metropolis. Every place that where a housewife takes pride in the appearance of her kitchen. And if I don't get back to the office in 10 minutes, I'll find myself back at Chautauqua. So long, kids.
There goes the biggest ham I've seen since Blue Boy went to the state fair. You better be careful or he'll wind up on a platter with an apple in his mouth. But this ain't getting my tree sprayed. This is the best it's been yet. Look how white the tree is getting, Molly.
There's one question I'd like to ask you, McGee. You sure?
Don't bother me now, kiddo. I'm going too good. Hot dog, ain't that getting beautiful? I finally got this spray done working perfect.
I know, but look, McGee, I've been wanting to
Hey
ask
there, Tootsie. I'm just about finished. There we are. All done. And believe me, that's the whitest Christmas tree you'll ever see. Now, won't you admit this is a mighty perfect effect, baby?
Yes, if you like that sort of thing. Well, I'll go in and make some hot coffee, dearie. McGee,
Huh?
whose Christmas tree is on the front porch?
Oh, that's the one I bought this morning that I'm gonna paint white and... What? Oh my gosh, what tree did I paint?
The one that's been growing there in the yard all these years. Bring in the vacuum cleaner when you come.
If I ain't the dumbest bloke that ever drew breath, a wise guy, a know-it-all, can't tell one tree from another, one that's growing and one that ain't. I'm a saphead. I'm brainless, incompetent, ham-handed butterfingers. And if I wasn't so stupid, I'd never let me sit here and insult me either.
What's the matter, mister?
I know that voice. Is that you, Teeny?
Sure is, betcha. What you sitting there with your head in your hands for, mister? Got a headache? Want me to fetch an aspirin? Want me to?
No thanks, kid.
Here, maybe that'll help.
Medicine won't touch the kind of headache I got. I just busted my ego in 4 places.
Gee, I'm sorry, mister, but... Oh, boy, who did that?
Who did what?
Who painted that tree white? Gee, is that ever beautiful?
Yeah, but that ain't the one that I was supposed...
And it's growing right there in your yard.
Yeah, you see, I got a little confused.
Oh, Mr. McGee, you're wonderful.
Huh? I am?
You're the nicest man in town, I betcha. You put your Christmas tree right out in the front yard where everybody can share it with you, didn't you?
Well, I didn't exactly.
Gee, all the kids in the neighborhood are going to love you for this, mister. Boy, I can hardly wait till you get it all lighted up.
You can, huh? I says, you can, huh?
Can't what?
I can't wait till I get it all lighted up.
Gee, neither can I. And you know what, mister?
What?
When it's growing in the ground like that, it can't wobble and fall over either. Our Christmas tree at home is always wobbly.
Lots of people make that mistake, kid. They don't stop to think if they were a tree and they got all lit up and then came into a warm room, they'd wobble a little too. Skip it. So you think it looks all right out here in the front yard, huh?
Oh boy, I'll say, now all the little children that haven't got Christmas trees can come and see yours, can't they?
Yeah. I had kind of planned to get a lot of little bags of candy and stuff and let the kids help themselves Christmas Eve, sis. I just planned that. Think they'd like that?
Gee, will they ever? And us kids will sing.
Sing what?
You know, the song we sing for you every Christmas time. Jolly old St. Nicholas. Would you like to hear it now, mister?
Yes. Yes, I believe I would, sis.
Okay. Hey, Bobses and Sherry, John, Betty, Pat, Kim, Mary, Catherine, we're on.
What a wonderful bunch of kids going around the neighborhood with a baby grand piano. Good thing we got a wonderful audience to even out the score.
And thus ends another hilarious and madcap look into the lives of Fibber, McGee, and Molly, brought to you by the makers of Johnson's Wax, the world's favorite way to spruce up any home for the holidays. We salute our fine radio cast and the immeasurable talents of our very own S.S.R. Orchestra. Until next time,
Don't open that door, McGee.
Thank you so much for coming, and we hope you found some nugget of enjoyment during this last 45 minutes of an hour. Please join us in the lobby for refreshments, and say thank you again to our wonderful cast.